Morning, everyone. This is Kerry, and my my channel, Testimonies and Conversations with God. So this morning, I wanted, I don't know, just lately, a lot of different things have been bothering me to great extent, and um, so I want to share a story with you. Um, it's about a guy, and his name was Jim Watson. From Pontiac, Michigan, and his boy um, told this at his funeral, Jeff Watson, and so some things that you never know about people, and it just really struck with me, and so back, and I forget the year he said, but Jim. He'd come back from World War II, and he had married his wife Wilma. And to me, they were Papa Jim and Aunt Wilma, um, you know. And so um, he had made a promise with God that if he got him out of World War II alive, he would serve him the rest of his life. And people make these promises all the time, And anyway, he comes home, and I don't know the whole story in between A and B, but one day, the late Bishop L.A. Parent, he ran an article in the Pontiac, or I guess maybe the Oakland Press, whichever. And it was a big full page ad that anybody who could stump him on the Bible would get this. I believe it was a Packard or something. And he was driving it around. It was his car. He had bought it. And, he put it out there in a great you talk about gambling, right? I mean, this guy was, I guess you'd say he was crazy, He's like, hey, I mean, I'm a minister and I've got a small flock here going to church, and I'm going to put them to test because maybe I got to give away the car and walk to work. And so I don't know what level Jim's uh, Bible acumen was. And so said they got up, and they I guess they called, and they went down to meet with him, and Jim started throwing some things at him, and which anybody, you get false, people throw out falsities, and you gotta, no, that's not true, this is what the Bible says, and um well, after a little bit, um Jim had lost, and said that when he got done with this conversation, and he realized the person he was dealing with, and Bishop L.A. Parent, he was a great man. I only have memories of him because I moved away before he passed away, so I was really young, and uh, but he left a legacy, and his name still gets mentioned a lot today, especially in the Michigan area, and people who came from the Apostolic Church there in Pontiac. Um, so when they were done, they got up, and he looked at his wife and says, "Well, this is where we're going to church," and that was it. And so Jim passed away. It's been a few years now. I remember riding my bike up to Michigan to the funeral, and he was such a good man, And for the next, I'll be honest, I don't know how old he was when he started going there, and at his funeral, you hear these things about him, and things I didn't know, and he was always, for many years, he was helping people fix their cars at church who, because people didn't have money, and it's just bad times, and you hear all these things. But here's the thing that I want to say to you. You know, know where you're going to church. Okay, know where you're going to church. So many times, I don't care about names of people out there. It does not offend me. It does not bother me to, you know, um, when I'm not the greatest religious detective. Okay, let me be honest with you. Um, when I see these people on TV and Copeland, is send me a check, God's going to give you whatever, and um, you know Osteen and all these others, um, if the pastor's making you happy all the time, you ought to be sitting down and reevaluating some things. Ask yourself, is this the right pastor? And if you got to go talk to him, and if you got, if you, some friends tell you some things and you just really got some questions, and, go talk to another pastor. Because here's what I want to tell you. Um, so we had this pastor, Brother David Bryan, for a few years here in Cincinnati, and he was brash. Let me tell you something. He I mean, you just don't know what's coming out of his mouth sometimes. And he would tell you, he straight. I remember one time he said, he turned around and said, um, I forget what he was talking about. And he had said, and if you're getting offended at this, you need to pray more. You need to pray more. Um, if what I'm saying is turning you inside, and you might be getting angry, it's getting you angry for a reason. Are you not, are you getting lazy? Are you, uh, and it, like anybody, I'm sitting there and I'm like, how dare you say something like that? But, later on, when you really start thinking about it, um, and of course he followed it up by another saying of, um, it's not my job to make you happy. It's my job to get you to heaven. Okay. And if that's all your pastor cares about is getting you to heaven, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, that's the if your pastor is not if he's some of these like Osteen, it's on um interviews and stuff. He doesn't want to talk about sin. He doesn't want to make you feel bad. He cares about your feeling. He cares about the inner you, not just the spiritual. He cares about the inner you. And you know, sometimes if you look at you have argument with your spouse, your parents, your kids, whatever, and they can say something to you and it just offends you so bad, and later on you sit back and you realize that they said it because they care. They said it because they care. And I want you to stop and just, you know if you're out there searching for a church, or if you just feel that, you know um that sometimes you just get a feeling that, something ain't right here. Where I go to church, something's not right. It's okay to question it, because your 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 life after this depends on it. So I challenge you to, you know, pray about where you're going to church. And not everyone, gets faced with this, but some of these ministers get up there and they start railing on the wrong things. They don't look in, I understand, that sometimes in the pulpit, ministers say, hey, these are bad things that are happening in this world, and they take the wrong side. And so stop and look at your pastor, stop and look at your church, and look at, just be objective about things, but make sure, I mean, I grew up in the United Pentecostal UPC organization, and you know, I've seen that there have been a couple ministers that the church is just, this guy's not, he's not doing it. There's something wrong, and um, and so the churches have ousted them because um, don't let your pastor take you down the rabbit hole. You know, you need to be out grazing in the field, you know, where you're supposed to be grazing, not chasing down all this other false things, thinking, oh, this is all so much better. No, 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 no. You need a pastor that's maybe he's not gonna make you happy all the time. Let me tell you something. But if the pastor is teaching the truth from the Bible, then you need to stop and reevaluate and say, okay, then I need to step up, right, guys? And forgive me here, I've ran 11 minutes. I don't want to go long, but I just want to say, you know, the I don't know. It's I don't know. It's been a month now, I guess, and uh, something's happened inside of me, and I don't understand it. But some of my thoughts are different. Um, my heart's different, and I, I I don't want anyone out there missing out on the opportunity to go to church. Okay, make that sacrifice. If you got kids, make it for your kids. I'm pleading. I may not be the guy you're going to call up for Bible expertise. Okay, and I see things, and forgive me. I'm just being honest here. I'm being honest. I'm just your average Joe, right? Um, but if if someone listening to me stops and says, um, maybe I need to reevaluate my life, then everything is worth it. So please, you know, um, if you got one of these, take a cup. I understand. Start slow. Start one day a week. Hey, one day a week, I'm gonna give 15 minutes. Okay, hey, you know what? Next week, I'm going to give, 2 days a week, three, because we get busy. We don't always sit down every night and read our Bible. Um, but, dedicate some time each week, and give it, sometimes you just open it up and point and go. But then I mark my verse. I mark where I stop. I'm trying to get through the Old Testament. I don't think I've ever really sat down and just read it through um, consistently. I know over time I think I've read the whole Bible once, but it shouldn't be once in a lifetime thing. This ain't Mecca, people. Well, oh, I went to Mecca and that's the ultimate of forgiveness and whatever that is. No, 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 no. This is, maybe you don't read the exact word for word all the way through, but do you sit down and study just a little bit? When you see something, I'll be honest with you, I go and Google, hey, what Bible verses talk about this and that, and I'll pull it up. And I was looking up something today about bad teachers, uh, that the people who stand up and preach to you are held to a higher standard. And now I'll be honest with you, I don't really get that, because it can be different. It can be meant in different ways, but the end result is, I don't think there's really a worse punishment than hell. Right? They get another level of hell. You know, I mean, because I don't understand that part. Um, but I do understand the part that they need to walk a straighter line, um, and they need to be more um, adept with the verses of the Bible and have a better recall to answer people. So just be weary. If you go to a great church, hey, that's awesome. You don't have anything to worry about. And, but if you don't, sit back and just say, do I need to make a change? Because no no church is really going to tell you, you don't like it here, just leave. I mean, it's usually, oh, you're just, they'll they'll tell you it's your fault, right? But you have to make sure that you're understanding what is being said, okay? And you have to have this relationship in there that your church, there's something pulling you, and if it's not pulling you enough, you need to sit down and say, hey, what do I need to do to get to pull myself in more to this church? So, ladies and gentlemen, you can give me your comments. I don't care anything else, but be in church on Sunday. Be in church on Sunday, folks. Um, God doesn't demand that we're in church 7 days a week, and He understands. He made us human, and and he knew that as we reach this age, we're going to get pulled here. How do we? How do we? We need nurses. Nurses work odd shifts, and it's hard, and you can't be at church. You're working, um, but we have to when it is available, we have to be there. Okay. Oh, I'll just go Christmas and Easter. You're gonna find out where that gets you. So please, if you leave in a comment, where you're at, whatever, I'll find somebody that somewhere around there that can help you out, find you a good church. Okay. Can't promise it's going to be close, but we'll we'll, we'll I'll make some phone calls. I have some friends. I've been I may not have been a Christian my whole life, but I've been going to church most all my life, and I know a lot of people. All right, and I know how to reach out. So anyway, God bless you. Be safe, and we have to tarry on, right? And our days of tarrying are numbered. So God bless you. Thank you.